What is going on? What is going on, everyone? Thank y'all so much for tuning to another episode of Beyond the Hustle. My name is Daniel Tadamy, and joined with me, as always, is my host, co-host, serial entrepreneur himself, Mr. Paul Rene Jr., man. Claps all around. Paul, what is going on, brother? What is going on,
Nothing much. What's up, Maestro? Daniel Tadamy with Tadamy Productions. The key piece of this puzzle, the glue that keeps everything together. And Daniel, this is episode 9, man.
Episode 9, man. Episode 9, bro.
Hey, back when we started, back when we started, we had a goal, didn't we? We were like, hey, man, let's get this thing going. Even if it doesn't come out the way we want to, let's reach 10 episodes, right? And we just one episode away from that 10 episode. And I like the number 9, man. They said, if you want to know the secrets of the world, find out what 3, 6, and 9 is all about. And we just hit the number 9 with a very special guest from the Orlando area.
Yes.
We have, Orlando, stand up. We have Mike Felix. All right, he's an entrepreneur consultant, a business developer, sales coach, a tech community advocate, a speaker, and an author. Everyone, please welcome, Mike Felix once
Mr.
again. A
Mike
round of
Felix.
applause. Yes, sir. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, it's an honor for us to have you, Mike. Mike, I know you got a great following. You coach entrepreneurs, which is very, very difficult. And thank you for your service in doing that, because it's a area that there's not that many people that's in that area for us to talk to and have a conversation about the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship, man. Tell us, I know probably a majority of our viewers don't know much about you. I know you got a lot of viewers that know a lot about you, but tell us something that your viewers, that our viewers, tell us something that we don't know about you, man. What's the secret behind Mike Felix? What's something that most people don't know about you?
I don't know if there's a secret, but there is something that a lot of people are surprised when I tell them. And that's the fact that network marketing is what actually got me into entrepreneurship.
What?
Years ago, I remember I was in a Barnes and Nobles, and I was walking around, and this guy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, you look like you're really ambitious." I was young and dumb, and I'm like, "Really?" And he gave me this book, this Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and he was like, "You should come to a meeting with me." And I didn't go to that meeting with him, but I went to another meeting, but it turned out to be network marketing. And but it wasn't the business that got me intrigued. It was some of the people that was in there that got me intrigued. And I feel like at that point I was really malleable, and it started to open my eyes to certain things. So that's what got me into like entrepreneurship. And I sort of, my experience sort of brought me to where I am today, which is definitely beat up a little bit. I got some bruises trying to get entrepreneurs to do what they got to do.
But, man.
That's one thing that a lot of people, they're surprised when I tell them that. I'm like, I started in network marketing.
I relate with you on that, and I've had that conversation with Daniel too about Rich Dad Poor Dad and the quadrants, different quadrants, the employee quadrant, the business owner quadrant, the investor quadrant, the self-employed quadrant. Yeah, that catapulted me at a young age. I think I was about 18, 19 years old when I read that book. So that answered my question that I was going to ask about what motivated you. And so that was one of the things that motivated you, was that network marketing meetings and Robert Kiyosaki with that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, huh?
Yeah, I mean that, and just, I mean, I kind of came up to Orlando on accident. I'm from South Florida, and I think I wasn't motivated by the right things. I was motivated by money. But I didn't even know I didn't know what engineers did before I got up here, right? But I studied engineering, but it was because I wanted to make money. So when I found there were other ways to make money, I think that's what kind of grabbed me, And I started to, I mean, of course, my mentality about it changed over time, but that was my initial motivation. It was all money, 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 and that wasn't the right reason, but it at least got me in, So, hey.
Yeah. Hey, it's a reason though. Regardless if it's not a right reason or wrong reason, it's a reason, and it's necessary, right? Everyone says money isn't everything, but neither is oxygen. Right? You need it.
Yeah.
Right?
We need it.
Definitely from South Florida though. So can you tell me then what are some of the pitfalls? You said you took a couple of bruises getting started. You got anything that comes to mind that you want to share that helps you that helps strengthen you on this journey of entrepreneurship?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, there's so many bruises. So many bruises.
Yeah.
So many bruises. But you want to know what one thing that I realized? I think support is huge, right? Support is huge, but I think a lot of people it's misplaced with a lot of folks, especially folks that are like married or they have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to bruises and when it comes to the biggest lesson learned, I think one of the biggest things I learned, and one thing that I tell everyone that I coach is, don't think people believe in you until you realize that these folks that you want to believe in you, they have either seen a plan or progress. Belief is one of those things that like it's based on faith, and faith is based off of something you can't see, right? Mm-hmm. When you want to be an entrepreneur, a lot of times you want to hear people tell you, oh my gosh, you can do it. You can do it. Most times people have no clue if you can do it, and they don't believe you can do it until you have a plan or until they've seen some type of progress. If they don't see those two, they're just words. And so I believe that a lot of my bruises came from these false beliefs. Not to say that I feel like people believe too much in me. I had nothing to prove, so I didn't make a plan and I didn't measure my progress.
And then you suffered some pitfalls from that then, huh?
I was gonna say this, like
not just even pitfalls. I didn't get high enough to fall too low, or to fall too far, because you don't fall off anything too far if you don't get up high enough, right? So
true. Yeah.
Some entrepreneurs are still on the ground and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to fall. You ain't falling nowhere. You're still on the ground. You didn't do that.
I was gonna say, when you were talking about like, people, they say they believe in you, or they don't believe in you until they see like progress, something like that. I was gonna say, I kind of get that, right? I kind of get that because people are attracted to progress. I think what makes the Cinderella story, not the Disney character, right? But just like, the whole Cinderella being a person that goes from nothing to something. I think what makes that story, when we see it played over in movies over and over again, Rocky will probably be like the most popular, I guess, Cinderella story, is that there was a nothing to something, that people were able to track, and people are attracted to that. One of the things that, I say to a lot of people that, they want to do something and just kind of like, they want to get into doing something. I always tell them, you'll never know how many people are really there to support you, rooting for you, until you start. Like, you don't know how many people just in your general circle, right? Yeah. That just are in your corner, whether it's for real or not, right? We don't know, right? People are always down to rock with you until you start going a little bit higher than them. But you don't know how many people are willing to support you until you get out there and do something. But I think that once you get out there, maintaining it is difficult. Yeah. Maintaining it.
That's why
I think in my perspective, right? I've seen my business catapult just personally from a few people who believed in me, based off of, what I told them I can do for them with, sales. letting them know like, hey, yeah, I see what situation you're in. For example, audits. They came to me for audits, and I let them know how to satisfy those audits. And once I got the results, right, that they were looking for, that opened the floodgates to
Yeah.
allow other people to believe in me because that word of mouth was golden. The
Yeah.
results, that was talked about from friends or family, and so I really didn't have to sell to the other people. The people who I satisfied and showed those results ended up doing the selling, and that opened up the floodgates to bring new clients, new customers to me because they heard about the results and they knew that I can get results. So they already believed in me based off of you know the knowing that I can get the job done. Might be different for other people, but and that's why I always believe in word of mouth, man. Word of mouth is golden. Not to say don't advertise or put up your brand, but do people right, and it's gonna come back to you, man. One
Yeah.
of my mentors say, you treat one person right, 10 people are gonna come to you from that one
Yeah.
person. All right,
Because it's a
so
seed. It's a seed, like that's,
it
I think,
is.
I mean, word of mouth is huge. Word of mouth is essential. It's essentially transferred trust. So when someone transfers that trust to you, you get the benefit of that relationship that they had. You get the benefit of that perception. If somebody perceives uh, an individual a certain way, if they refer someone to you, however they perceive that person is going to be reflective of that referral. So
Yeah,
I mean, yes, that's the best form of getting business. Before that, and that's why I bring up the whole belief thing. Before that, people are taking risks, right? So like
yeah,
when
definitely.
when
You
when
have
you
to
start
sell
a
it to them,
business,
right?
right? Yeah, when you start a business, a lot of people like, and that's why that belief in self it should be the starting point, because oftentimes if you're doing this right, if you're doing this right, you should have challenges in your belief initially. And again, I'm saying stuff that's very counter to what you read in books, because in books they write what could be sold. I'm in real life here, right?
Man.
There's 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 something known as, have you ever heard something along the lines of a bear attitude? Having a bear attitude, BEAR.
No.
No, no.
I know
So
about the
so
bare
it's
necessities.
it's it's a yeah, me too. It's it's an acronym, and the first piece is belief, right? So you start there, but you don't have a lot of it. Some people, like, they think they have a lot of it. You do not have a lot of it until you build up your enthusiasm. When you get enthusiastic about something, you start to take action, and then you get results. And what do you think the results do to your belief? It starts to
It
grow,
increases
and
it.
then you go
Yeah,
through that
increases
process
it.
again, you get
Mm.
results, and then it starts to grow. So a lot of people, like, they have this, and I deal with this with these startup founders. These startup founders are like, oh my gosh, my idea is the best, I believe in it. I'm like, all right, tell me more about your belief. You
Yeah,
haven't done shit yet. Tell me more about your belief. Tell me more about your results. And they don't have the action, the enthusiasm, or the results, but they got the belief. And I'm like, and they always fizzle. So now, whenever I
Mm.
have discussions with entrepreneurs, I'm like, let's take your belief out of it for a second, and let's look at the whole thing. No one's gonna believe in you until you start to get all four of those. I mean,
Mm.
let's be 100. I've I did a lot. Well, I relatively not. I don't want to say I've done the most, right? But I
yeah.
really invested a lot of time in building teams and community within the Black business community, the Black tech community. Um,
Okay.
and so much so, I mean, I've been a part of launching multiple Black business initiatives. I started a nonprofit organization called Black Orlando Tech. That's one of the reasons why I have a title of, like, tech advocate. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Black tech community. At first, it was like, we need money, we need money. Got a bunch of money. We need more. We need investors. We got investors. We need we
Yeah.
need we need we need. And it's like, we got the belief right, but everything else we got to flow in. So that's why, like, I really, and that's why when we had that discussion, Daniel, initially about motivation, I'm the demotivator. I'm the demotivator.
What do you
And
mean by
some
that? You
people.
the demotivator?
I was gonna get
So
into that when he wrapped up.
so
What is
so
that? What does that
so
mean?
here's how I'm gonna frame it. Right. Here's how I'm gonna frame it.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm gonna frame it. Uh, so brakes on your car. Right. What do brakes allow
Yeah.
you to do? What do brakes allow you to do?
Travel safely. I tell you that much. Yeah. Stop. They allow you to stop.
Right.
Stop.
Slow
Brakes allow
down.
you to stop.
Yeah.
Brakes allow you to slow down. That's what most people say. Brakes allow you to stop and brakes allow you to slow down. The reality is brakes allow you to go fast because you know you can slow down, right? So I bring this up because within most entrepreneurs, a lot of times we don't have brakes. We don't have brakes. So we think in our head that we can go so fast, but we're not able to really achieve or get to the point where we need to get to because we got everybody, quote unquote, motivating us. In the word motivation, it has the word moto, which means to move. But you got to know where, right? So with me, what I normally do, I operate by the stick a little bit. So I start to challenge. I challenge ideas. I challenge someone's belief in self. I challenge whether or not they're doing it for the right reasons, and it gets them to think. If I told everybody you could be whoever you want to be. Oh yeah, I can. And all of a sudden oftentimes they end up failing. People who are motivated too much end up failing. Conversely, those people that have something to prove, those folks that say, hey, I better make a plan, otherwise I'm gonna feel embarrassed. Those folks tend to succeed. So they got something to lose.
I was gonna say this to you because I agree with you with the whole motivation thing. That's the reason why, no offense to anybody, that's the reason why I don't do motivation. Right? So
neither do I. I don't
listen to motivators. I don't listen to anything like that because at the end of the day, you're only going to do what you want to do, and no one can make you go or do anything outside of that. So when me and Paul were talking about this topic and what we wanted to kind of cover or speak on tonight, it was from the sense of we're in the holiday season. A lot is quiet on the business front because people are doing other things. They're dealing with families. They're on vacations. They're doing a lot of things, right? Even some jobs, work is slowed down. I think the only thing that's going to pick up, well, besides consumerism, right? What's going to pick up is that trash. That garbage truck is going to keep coming. Waste is going to increase around this time. But on the other side, a lot of things are going to slow down. And how, people are dealing with real life things. Money is getting dried up. One of the things that I was looking up when I was conceptualizing this whole entire speaking point was, understanding, I'm trying to find it, guys. It was like it was saying there's like understanding the challenges, understanding why things get so tight, when they're talking about finances, things are getting tight, family emergencies, issues, things that go along that kind of slow down momentum, right? What you were talking about, Paul, what you were talking about, Mike, what can some of the breaks be when it comes to this business things? Your family could be a break if you have kids, having a new baby, or a baby gets hurt, a child gets hurt, that can slow you down, trying to find new customers. A lot of people struggle, trying to find those new clients. How do you stay motivated or stay excited about what it is that you do when everywhere you look, it's like, man, gosh, dog,
That's a good question.
It's another brick wall. It's something else. I can't give this much time because I got this relationship. Paul, we talked about it last time, a couple shows ago. Relationships can sometimes be, distractions. So how do you keep that fire burning, or how do you keep that passion alive when all this stuff is going on around you?
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good question. I mean, you started out around the point of the holiday season being relatively slow. I've actually seen the opposite. Um, a lot of people are spending money right now.
Yeah.
They're just prioritizing differently, right? So
Mm.
if you're in the business of selling certain things, it's key for you to know what these different seasons look like, so you can sell differently in different seasons. So you're gonna sell differently uh, to 1 quarter from now. You're gonna sell differently during the summer season. You're gonna sell differently going into the new year. Um, but there, I mean, if you're in Orlando, if you walk into the Millennium Mall right now, it's full.
Mm.
People got money. People are buying Bitcoin that don't even know what it is, right? Like, I mean, everybody,
You and
everybody's
Bitcoin,
spending
Mike.
money right now.
Yep.
Everybody's spending money right now. So, but again, that's also part of a belief system too, because I had one of my clients tell me this the other day. They were like, Mike, man, we're entering into the season and no one's gonna buy. And I'm like, all right, so and they started to bring up reasons and instances of people refusing their services. And
Mm.
a lot of that is within what we call our reticular activation system within our minds, our RAS. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term before, but it's one of those things where, like an example, if I were to tell you, um, like, hey, did you drive today? Did you drive today? You're gonna say yes. And if
Mm.
I were to ask you, how many red cars did you see? You're gonna be like, well, I don't know, because your mind wasn't filtering out everything else other than red cars. But if I were to tell you, hey, I'm going to give you $100 for every red car you see, and you have to tell the truth, you're going to be counting those cars subconsciously. You're going to know 42. But the reason
Mm.
why is because your mind said, hey, I'm focused on seeing those red cars. So when someone says, hey, like in the season, people don't spend, they're going to hit a bunch of instances where people ain't trying to spend.
Mm.
Conversely, you got somebody, I'm out here like, oh, everybody got money to spend, and I'm going to find a bunch of people that got money to spend. When it comes to like balancing that whole thing, like the seasons and the family and all that, a lot of that too, it comes down to your perspective and your plan, but it also comes down to why you're doing a lot of this too. So most people's
Mm.
vantage point when they start to see seasons slowing down and stuff is because the business is serving them. So our minds, like, we start to get a little fearful when we realize that something's threatening us. However, when your business is oftentimes about, like, hey, people need to be served this season, people need to be ready for the new year, people need to they need training so that when January 1st comes, they're ready to go. When that's the type of energy you put out there, you're going to start to reciprocate people who are like, yeah, you're right, I'm gonna buy this instead of a bike for my son. Like that's people are going to they're gonna be drawn to you when that perspective is different. So the season changes. Family wise, again, going back to that plan, if you're less stressed out about finding clients and stuff because you believe and you have this plan and you got when you start to see things come to you, then the balance you start to work not to you start to work to live instead of living to work. Like it becomes different. You start to have not and I was on a panel the other day, and she said it so eloquently. She said there's no such thing as work life balance. There's just work life. There's harmony. You have to create
Hmm.
harmony. You're gonna have the work,
I
you're gonna
like
have the
harmony.
the
I like
family,
harmony
you're gonna have
better than
you
balance. Yes.
you got to find
Yeah.
you got to find your harmony, and that's when things start to gel a little bit better.
We talked about that too, Paul. Did we talk? I think we talked about it last week or
Yes.
the week before. Yeah,
We
saying how
always
you
talk. We
never.
and this is the thing. Like there's so much similarities when it comes to entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
as you can
Yeah.
see when we get all these
Yeah.
different entrepreneurs around, man. And that's why we're in a class by ourselves. I like how he talked about. Let's go back to my man Robert Kiyosaki, right? That's one of the best investments that I had on myself was reading his books and books from Donald Trump, other entrepreneurs. They put me in that right mindset that got me, the ball rolling, the initial motivation. But my core motivation was just the desire and passion of where I wanted to see myself in life, and that's what got me up every day, even when I didn't feel like, working and getting up off of the bed. Nobody cared that I didn't feel like, doing anything. It was just about my vision and where I wanted to go. I would say that was one of my great investments, was investing in myself and getting the ball rolling. What would you say was one of the best or the best investments that you made for yourself?
Oh man. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would, from a business standpoint, I would definitely say, um, investing in. Well, so, all right. So let me back up. There's a couple of things that I've invested a lot into. Um, I've invested in skills that I think could support my financial capital or my financial account, and I also invested in things that could support my social capital. So um, I think that they play well together. So I invested a lot of time, energy, money into learning certain skills, and I also invested
Right.
time, energy, and money to building certain relationships. And a lot of that feeds into career and life balance and friendships and relationships. And so I think the greatest investment has been making sure that those accounts are are as full as possible.
I oh, you gonna say something, Paul? I was gonna
No,
move
no,
you
no.
someplace else.
And it sounds like similar. Investing in yourself was one of the
Yeah.
best investments that you made, right? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
putting out there?
yeah,
Outstanding.
absolutely.
Um.
Definitely been. I would say it's been difficult identifying the return because oftentimes we it's oftentimes we invest,
Mhm.
but we're not calculating what the return on certain intellectual investments are or personal
Right.
investments are. We're hoping it helps us grow. We're hoping it helps us become who we should be. Um, but um, but I'm starting to realize that there's certain things that I invested in years ago that it's just beginning to bear certain types of fruit, so it's just beginning, the even the fruit that it bared, the fruit's just starting, the seeds are just starting to replant themselves, so i'm starting to
Yeah.
see I'm starting to see those investments come to light now.
Um.
Okay.
Shout out to wifey. Appreciate you, babe. She's watching Oksana. She said, that's the word, prioritizing. When you were talking about prioritizing, and Jody said, "Good
Yeah,
word, man." She said, "Blex is always out there. We have to keep
sweet,
going,"
sweet, sweet.
and that puts me into like one of the biggest things for me is being in that in your lane, right? And I think that when it talks about motivation, right? I'm going to air quote that word because when we talk about being motivated and staying encouraged with what it is that you're doing, when you're in your lane and you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, or you're convinced within yourself, I guess that's that belief part, Mike, that you're talking about. You know
Hmm.
what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that you seek out motivation like that, right? That's just my personal opinion. I don't think motivation is something that you seek to get because you're in your lane. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I did this. I did this video, and I was talking about, you know, make sure that people aren't motivating you out or encouraging you out of your lane, out of your spot, because
Yeah,
it's like when people always say things, it's like, oh, you got it. Man, if you leave it to these people online, bro, you'll be starting something new every week.
Oh,
And it's
tell me
like,
about
bro,
it.
how are you going to
yeah,
get rooted if you're always pulling up what you're doing and going someplace else?
yeah,
Sometimes it's
yeah.
all about refining yourself in your craft, becoming a seasoned veteran. We talked about it before the show, putting in the man hours it takes to become a knowledgeable professional at what it is that you do, good at what you do. You got to sit
Hmm.
somewhere, man. What's that old popular saying? A Rolling Stone? gathers no moss. I probably like totally got that wrong. You can't always be getting into something new, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you just got to be careful of who you listen to. I was blessed to have great people that I admired and people that I aspired to be like them around me. That's what that those are the people who I listen to, are the people who are in positions that I want to be in, because they should know what works or what didn't work. It took them 30 years to get there, and they're cutting that time in fractions for me, so that I don't have to go through those pitfalls. But just a random person that because I have people who are definitely not in the positions that I want to be in. I mean, I don't want to go into details, right? But people who can't even sometimes, I don't want to talk about it, but what's the point of me listening to someone who isn't in the position that I want to be in, and they're trying to critique or tell me what I should do? It doesn't make any sense. It's those people who are on that level that I want to be on is who I listen to, and that has I have a question about that too. Who are some of the mentors that you want to put out there? You give a shout out to. Mike, that came across in your life? Anyone that you recall or remember?
Oh man, I have a few. I
Any
remember years
mentors?
ago. Yeah, there was a mentor that I had years ago. He actually passed away. His name was his name was oh my gosh, Walter Augustine. Walter Augustine. Um, One thing that he told he was a leader in the Navy as well.
Okay.
He used to have all these quotes, and one thing that he told me years ago, and mind you, when it comes to rest, we all need rest. But he said this quote. He said, "When you rest, you rust." And it kind of goes to
That's true.
it kind of goes with that old quote: "A Rolling Stone will never have what is it, moss on it or something." Like,
Yeah,
it's
bro, it's like,
you always got to be moving. You always got to be moving. And so, um, I have a number of other mentors. I would say that the most mentors, or the most influential mentors I have, are the folks who have written these books behind me, and all of the books in my digital library. Folks like Stephen
Okay.
Covey, John C. Maxwell, all these folks. I feel like they are strong mentors because of what they've written and what they've published. I have a ton of folks who have just contributed to me over the years as well. So,
Guys
too
that you
many to
never
name
even
on
met,
here, but
then basically, then right?
a lot of folks I haven't met, a lot of folks I have met,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of folks that they hit me up, they check on me. So yeah, I definitely have some folks around me that are well invested. However, one thing that I did find is I got the best mentors when I got the best mentors when, like I brought up earlier, like your vantage point on business and entrepreneurship and impact is around just that. It's around impact and not just your income, right? So when my language started to change from I want to make this amount of money, and I want to become this, and I want to have this title, when it went from that to I want to serve 500 people this year in this particular space, my mentor started to show up. People are like,
Yeah.
"I want to be a part of that," and you're a vehicle, you're a vessel, So people started to pour in me when they started to realize that my my intent was impact, not just income.
Mm.
I, they always say that birds of a feather flock together. Like that's a cliche, right? But it goes into that like mindedness and how a lot of times, and that's two parts, right? It's two parts because when you're occupying your space and you're being honest in your communication, do what you're supposed to be doing. Like-minded people, they're attracted to that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you walk into a room, you can automatically tell if something's off. Or you're in the room talking and someone walks in and it's just like, oh, energy changes or something shifts, whether it's a positive or a negative shift. But you just notice it without even saying a word.
Yeah.
People recognize that, bro. Energy is something that can be felt, right? Personalities can be felt. You can feel something shift. And when you're out there communicating, you know, who you are and what you're about to do, people are attracted to that. And a lot of times people will go out seeking these things and trying to get people to, man, one of the biggest things that I've learned, and it's not, you know, of course you got to connect, because I was going to get into that next, like external inspiration, right? Like basically your ecosystem. I was going to kind of move into that next. But when I kind of closed off a lot of what was being said to me and just started focusing on what it is, my why, redefining who I am and what I'm here to do, right? And the things I want to help people. Like I really want to, especially in our Black community, you know, I really want to help people when it comes to like building something, you know, putting out. We were talking about it before, Mike, before we started. He was like, nah, man, it got to look good. I'm like, it got to look good, sound good, and feel good, bro. It has to be quality, bro. It really does. Yeah. And my pursuit to that, bro, I really believe in putting quality things out there. And when I really started focusing on that, bro, that's when a lot of things shifted on my end. But I want to talk to you about the ecosystem and how important is it. You do a lot when it comes to putting businesses and like-minded people together. It seems like you're always focusing on that. So I think you'll be the right person to ask, like, how important is that ecosystem, you know, that network of people to a person's success?
Yeah, I mean, in any, I would say, social ecosystem, especially one where like things need to be planted and fertilized, and those could be ideas, that could be people's business ventures. There's three components that's needed, and I forgot the name of the book. I think his name is Brad Feld. Um, there's three elements to it. You have the eaters, the feeders, and the leaders. The eaters, the feeders, and the leaders. And with those three elements, you have someone to serve. You have those who are going to be involved in the serving, and then you have those who are providing the food. So, I mean, especially within our community, within the Black community, it's one of those things where we struggle getting a nice balance across the board, right? There may be a lot of eaters, but and there may be a lot of leaders. There's a lot of people that care. Oh, we care so much. We want to help. If I were to put out a post and say, oh, who wants to volunteer to help Black business owners? I have a line of 5,000 people. Let me tell those 5,000 people to put up $100 so we could invest in them. I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I'll find the money, right? But the the feeders is where we have some trouble. Then you have some communities where you have a lot of feeders and you have a lot of leaders, but you don't have enough eaters. And that might sound weird when it comes to the Black community, right? But we're having that challenge here in Central Florida, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, again, within my organization, Black Orlando Tech, we have folks right now hitting us up. Hey, I got 25 stacks. Who needs it? Mm-hmm. I need a startup that has an idea within medical technology. Well, do we got any startup founders in medtech right now? No, right? So all of a sudden, you need those three components served. And so I definitely think that an ecosystem is important, and the system part, it enables you to, create something that has the ability to grow, so I think it's important, but yeah, I feel like you need those three components to have something successful.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, if you can get a lot of people together and they have money that they need to invest in, I would tell you to put them together in the syndication and invest in some multifamily units, man. That's one thing that'll give them a good return on their investment. But yeah, if there are industries out there also as well that can get you a good return on your investment, I'm just biased in real estate, in the direction of real estate.
Paul loves real estate.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's where I've seen the greatest results, man, in my life, is in real estate. One of my my first mentor, my dad has shown and proved that as well as investing in real estate at a young age. I've seen how investing in real estate can benefit you. And yeah, one of the things my dad, who was my first mentor, told me that stuck with me to the day was, yeah, make sure you write your own checks. All right. And
Yeah.
that stuck with me till today. Um, Building relationships in the community is always a good thing. I like to give back and talk to the community, educate the community, speak out to the community about financing and budgeting. But closer to home, how is it like for you though, Mike, having a relationship, a significant other, in your entrepreneur ventures, your time and dedication to your passion and your vision? How is it like finding that significant other that matches your passion? Do you see it troublesome, or is that something that you see, uh, you know, is attainable for you? And if it is attainable, how is that like
Yeah. No,
that partner?
yeah, no, my fiance is, she definitely matches my energy. Um,
Okay.
if you want to see, if you want to see a stupid schedule, look at both of our calendars. Stupid. Um, so she's really involved in the legal field. She's a leader within the legal community. She's an attorney. She was past president of a bar association. She's a part of launching another bar association. She's involved in
Okay.
a ton of different organizations. Very involved. Um, and I it's not that I see it as troublesome, but it's a matter of being extremely resourceful when it comes to what I believe I have the ability to grow and how it plays into that harmony that I mentioned earlier. So, so, and I'll lead into why, like um, the why behind like we do so much, right? So, um, the how do I say this? I I I changed how I operate my business because of my relationship. But the reason why is because it's more aligned with the lifestyle that I want to design. So some years ago, I was chasing clients. I was chasing clients. I wanted the highest paying client. And you know what I used to have to do to get the highest paying client? I had to
What is
take a
that?
piece of my life. I had to take a piece of my life, and I was selling it to them. So I say, hey, you know what? If I have 24 hours within a day, I have what, 168 hours within the span of a week. I'm taking a piece of that and I'm just selling it off to the highest bidders. And that was creating a lifestyle where, yeah, I was making money, but at the same time, I was giving piece of a limited resource for it. But now with my fiance, because we both are strapped, in my head, I'm like, no, we're intelligent. There's a better way to create scale and to generate income, and that's one of the reasons why over the past 6 months, I've been doing a lot more stuff within the digital product space, because what fulfills me more now is being able to continue serving folks, but at a different level of scale. I don't need to get the big contracts anymore. In my head, I'm like, I'm looking to impact as many people in the most creative way as possible without giving up this limited thing that I have, which is time. Now, because we are so involved, I think it hit me the other day. It really hit me. Me and my fiance and I, we went out to her a holiday party for an organization that she's really involved in, and we took our two sons. When we walked in, you have judges, you have prominent legal professionals, you got politicians, you have high esteemed they knew our sons' names, but like they knew our sons by name. So, and you could take our sons to a business event and they know them by name. You could take our sons to a legal event, know them by name. I could take them to a tech event, know them by name. And that's in my mind, just based off of all of the investment that we're making in community and all that, that in my mind is the greatest form of generational wealth. Yes, we're working on the assets and acquiring things so that they're good. But having this generation know your children by name is huge. So everything that we're doing, I feel like our relationship fuels that. So it's definitely stressful at times, but I feel like it does serve a bigger purpose.
Outstanding.
I like hearing you say that. Mike, how old are your sons?
3 and 8.
3 and 8. Wow, man.
3 and 8.
Y'all having some more?
I mean,
yeah.
Hey, Paul, the reason why this is funny to me is because I had them both on the sit down.
Wow.
And I didn't know. I think off camera, I talked to both of them, and then both of them let me know, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" I was like, "Hey, I ain't gonna bring it up. We gonna let it."
Yeah, but and I think I told you when I was at the interview.
Yeah, you was like, you had her on the show, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
nice. And you didn't even know, huh?
Nah, man. I love the way that both of them moved and handled that. They kept it. They kept their business, and then when it was time, and then I ain't say nothing because that's their business. I'm gonna keep it, private. But I respect how they moved. Both of them are awesome, bro. Powerhouses, bro. Freaking powerhouse.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
And I love it.
And as an advocate in the tech community, I just want to throw this in there because we were having this conversation before we got on air. Android or Apple for business? Which one do you recommend, Mike? What's going on?
Listen,
I ain't saying nothing.
This argument. You really want to get into this argument on live?
Yeah, we gotta do this, man. We gotta do this live.
Look, and again, I'm gonna reiterate this. I'm speaking from a vantage point of being someone who has both. I'm big on Apple, but just not on an iPhone. These are not productivity devices. This is not a productivity device. This is just an iPhone. On my Android device, there are plenty of things that I'm able to do that serves productivity. Like I could say, oh, let me drag this screen because I need to reference a text message. Let me drag my browser down here. So now I'm sitting here reading an article while texting a response. I can drag Chat GPT up here and say, hey, I want to be able to run this prompt real quick. And I'm inside of a text message thread. I mean, you can't do that with Apple. You can only do one thing at a time. I was downloading a video to my phone, and I was copying the file to my phone, and I was able to switch apps while it was still copying. You cannot do that with an iPhone. So iPhone is very binary, and it's cool for people who, want to do one thing at a time. That's fine. But I feel like this is like the Toyota Camrys, and this is the Lamborghini of cell phones.
Look at that! He went over there, bro.
It is more expensive.
I don't think Daniel agrees with you, though. I don't think I can see it in his face. He's not on the same
page as he's talking, bro. I'm like,
my concern for who agrees with me is very low. This is the Lamborghini of.
He said Toyota and Lamborghini. I'm not.
Wow.
You didn't ask
not even
me,
a Lexus. Not even a
no,
Lexus.
He just went Toyota to Lamborghini, bro. Gosh,
no.
Yeah, you didn't ask me, so I'm straight. What I will say is, when you talk about multitasking, that is dope, though. The multitask feature is pretty dope. How many? It's like 3 windows you could do, right? You could do side by side and below.
Yeah, you can pull 2, like one on top, one below. You could have 4 tiled. I mean, of course, it gets ridiculous, right?
Right.
So you're not going to be doing too much, but I mean, you have a lot of flexibility. I mean, I could literally be like how on iPhone, well, on any phone, sometimes you gotta it's going to say, hey, we just sent you a confirmation code. And sometimes you switch windows to check the email to get the confirmation code. And then when you swap back, it refreshed the page or something. So now you got to generate another code. That happens a lot, which is why Apple implemented that whole like copy from text capability.
It'll automatically do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Which Android already had. But if you notice, Apple deprecated it. So again, like it's one of those things where it's like they purposely make it more difficult to do certain things. I'm not an iPhone fan. I don't see how people are productive on it.
Dude,
I just started dealing with Apple. I came from Android. I've been Android for a long time for business, and just started dealing with Apple. I like to say it is a big difference in both, but I'm still figuring out the ins and outs of being a part of the Apple community. I'm not at the point yet where I feel like I'm missing Android, but I think I really do want to see what's out there, because from the time that I started dealing with Apple, I'm pretty sure Android has been coming up a long way and with new tools and gimmicks to get the features for the business perspective. I'm not much of a tech guy. Like most people are, but I just wanted to see what there was, what all the fuss about was with Apple, and so far I'm not disappointed. But I'm pretty sure Android is much more flexible than Apple, though. I have to find that out myself.
With Apple, it's definitely a social thing. It's so much so. Apple is so much so. When I switched to my Android and my bubbles turned green, I had 4 friends message me asking me, "Hey, everything good?" As if I'm poor. And I'm like,
"Hey, bro, what happened?"
Bubbles turned green, bro.
So again, it's very much a social thing. I'm not bought into it no more.
It is.
I had to emancipate myself from. I had to emancipate myself from it. Again, I still have it, but yeah, it's not my primary. So I think if you want to be productive, you want to get stuff done, you got to get an Android.
It is social. It is social. It's like a meme coin. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that it's because of the popularity and the social success that it's like that, because there's a lot that you could do with it, and it's all in what you know. There's people that I'll talk to them about the iPhone, and I'm like, yo, your phone could do this, right? And they're like, what? I'm that guy. If the phone can do something, I want to know what it could do. I'm not gonna get it, and I'm not gonna. Now, do I know everything that it could do? No, but there's not much that is gonna go on with it that I'm not familiar with. And that's the type of user I am. I'm gonna use it all the way. I'm gonna ride that thing until the wheels fall off. That's the type of person I am with it. But there's people that just use it just for that.
I'm not disappointed in it. I tell you, I'm not disappointed in Apple.
I gotta ask you guys a question though. I gotta ask y'all a question though, right? So
sure.
I believe, again, this is one of those things. I'm gonna tie this back to entrepreneurship. I think that some folks that get into entrepreneurship or who are salespeople, a lot of times you get to this state of maturity where you're sort of fixed. Like you don't want certain things to change too much, but at the same time, you're kind of in certain patterns, right? Apple, the way that they designed this interface over 10 years ago, they chose not to change it. Like here's one example, right? There's plenty of articles about this. There's been UX people that are like, hey, they just don't want to change it because they designed this 12, 13 years ago and they just don't want to. If you're inside of the camera, if I'm in my camera on my iPhone and I want to change the camera settings, I have to leave the camera to go into the settings to change my camera settings. If I want to, like, all of those type of user, and they designed that again over a decade ago, but they chose not to change it, not because it makes sense, but because they're like, no, our people get fixed in their ways, and that's the reason why they look the same. They understand people want to be fixed. People are upset about the iPhone 16. Upset because it's the same phone. So they're trying to come out with all this Apple Intelligence stuff. I believe they're now starting to have some challenges. And I think slowly but surely, a lot of folks are going to be like, I'm not getting anything more than what I was getting 10 years ago out of my iPhone. But yet other folks are outpacing me. Other folks are multitasking. Other folks are doing this. And the only proposition they have is to make it hard for you to connect this thing to anything.
To anything.
They don't even call this. They don't even call this a cell phone. On the website, they don't call this a cell phone. They call it an iPhone. That's their mentality. Right. This isn't a cell phone. So I mean,
it is a social thing, though. I'm gonna tell you that's what motivated me to get it. I mean, you look at all the movies out there. Everyone has iPhones in the movies, except for the villains. I think it's like something that they don't let the villains have it, right? But it's and again the green bubble. Thing when you're talking to someone and they're like, "Oh, you don't have an iPhone yet," and it's like, "Well, let me get one." God dang, I can get it.
I mean, let's see what happens. It's a genius business model. But again, even tying it back to entrepreneurship, we need to have a free mind. We can't be fixed in certain boundaries. I mean, with these iPhones, we just started to be able to move icons around, just got dark mode, just got the ability to schedule your text messages. These are capabilities that were years ago, right? As entrepreneurs, we got to be able to really emancipate ourselves from what's called like status quo, because that could inhibit us. Have you ever heard the story of, I mean, there's so many stories like this, but have you ever heard the story of the what is it, the daughter who used to chop off the bottom half of the turkey leg when she was cooking her Thanksgiving turkey? So
no, man.
Years ago, there was this little girl, and her mom was teaching her, like, hey, you need to start cutting off the bottom half of the turkey leg before you put it in the oven. So the little girl was like, she challenged it. She was like, why are we cutting off the bottom half of the turkey leg before we put it in the oven? So the mom was like, well, I don't know. I do it because my mom did it. So they went to the grandmother. They were like, hey, grandmother, why do we cut off the bottom half of the turkey leg before we put it in the oven? So the grandmother was like, I don't know. I do it because my mom did it. So they went to the great grandmother and they asked the great grandmother, why do we cut off the bottom half of the turkey leg before we put it in the oven? And the great grandmother goes, oh, because the ovens weren't that big back in the day, baby. And again, I say this because the ovens are small with these things. We're still operating these things like we're back in the 90s. We need to start using new stuff.
But there definitely has to be some pros involved with iPhones, because you have one still, Mike. You still got an iPhone, so that means it has to be some good points.
I think the social concept to me, and that's so I'm going into a whole different rant, because I don't like the whole idea of popular being right. If that makes sense to you both.
Yeah.
Just because something is popular does not mean that it's right. I hate that. I feel like, I think that things that are popular water down, what's factual. And that's my whole thing with the iPhone. It's become this social magnet, right? And it's become this status symbol that, the functionality of it or the use case of it just kind of gets convoluted in the fact that it's popular. When I left Android and I went to, right, and now we're moving into something else. We're having a conversation about cell phones, but it's a lot deeper than that, right? Mm-hmm. When I moved over to, I was like, okay, I want to be able to do this. I want X, Y, Z. I'm going to go over here to do that, right? I probably had an iPhone for 4 years, maybe 5 years now. So I'm new. I'm not fairly new, but I just got into it. And I started moving into Apple of that way for what I want to use it for and what I can use it for. I had I don't know if you all remember when Motorola came out with like the phone and you could like detach it and do all these things to it. I was on Motorola because you was able to like detach lenses and do all these things. I'm like, what on a freaking phone, bro? It's crazy. And this is like when like that social media, being a content creator wasn't a fad yet, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I want to bring up to you too as well, Mike. It's like the fad of things. Like being an entrepreneur, being in business, even with podcasts and things like this, it was all like sexy. It was like cool to do, you know? Mm-hmm. But then these people weren't making it past 10 episodes because you was excited. And then when the work actually got put into it, now it's like, oh, I got to work for this. I got to do this. Oh, this is a part of it too. It's like, yeah, right. It's not just like a fad, but that's when it comes to knowing your lane. It goes right back to that, knowing your lane. When I got into iPhone, I was like, when I got to Apple, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to be able to do it. Okay, what's giving me that seamless? Like I told you, I go from iPhone to my computer to all these. It's seamless because I move a lot of content around, right? I airdrop like a lot. You know, when I work on I edit on my iPhone. And when I'm done doing something with editing there, boom, I move it right to the computer or I take it right to upload. So I wanted that, right? Yeah. And I went to Apple to get it. So I kind of want to know what you think about the fad of things, and even when dealing with your clients, how, like, do you combat that popular? Because you said you challenge, which is going to force people to actually think and reaffirm your beliefs or your whys. You know that you're doing something.
Let me clarify my gripe, right? My only gripe with Apple is the iPhone. I love the continuity of everything. Like I could put my iPad over here and I'll drag a window over to the iPad and I can start drawing on here and now I'm on Zoom. Everything is just so connected. I love it. I love that everything is so connected. So it's just the iPhone. The fad piece, I definitely challenge folks. But again, that's the thing. Like there are things that are becoming popular, and those folks they're not creating a plan and they're not measuring progress. A lot of times they tend to fizzle, right? So like an example, like podcasts, right? Like whenever I speak to people about launching podcasts, first thing they start telling me is like, oh yeah, like this is stuff I'm going to talk about. I'm like, hey, you got to raise $20,000. They're like, for what? Figure that shit out. and the reason I start there is because you got to have gas in this car that you're creating, right? Like a lot of times, like, folks they'll start something because they see the level of success that someone's already at. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes what they didn't see is the fact that, some of these folks had that one person that said, hey, you have an audience. I love your audience. I want to get in front of them. So I'll sponsor your first 5 episodes. Here's $5,000. And now you take that 5,000, you take 1,000 of it, you leverage some sort of social arbitrage and you spend that on Facebook ads. Now all of a sudden this person gets a $80,000 return because he's getting in front of an audience. You made 4,000 technically net. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. Like folks are doing that now, but the folks that aren't doing it, all they're doing is they're doing the front end because they just see the fad. They just see the oh, this person is doing a podcast. There's an entire business behind it. There's an entire business behind it. Any podcast, any content platform right now, the business side is how many eyeballs, and same thing in real estate, right? Like you're leveraging the fact that there's something that you can acquire at a certain level, and you have some strategy around getting that deal done, executing that deal, whether it's you buying something outright, you financing that through the seller over a period of time, and you say, hey, I want margin every month because of this deal. They're incentivized by this, I'm incentivized by that. Let's make a deal. Same thing with a podcast. You find these folks who have an interest in an audience that you're targeting, and you get them to fund those eyeballs. And then you pay Facebook to get you the eyeballs.
Yeah.
I mean, I called my company Amplified Inbound for a reason. I used to preach organic, 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 organic. You will die in these business streets trying to sit here and fight algorithms. Ain't no algorithm god coming to save you. You will die out here. This is a pay to play. You cannot be out here unless you're paying. You wouldn't jump in if you were to say, hey, I need to go to the store, you wouldn't walk. You spend money every time you jump in that car, and the same thing with social media. So going back to the whole fad thing, when people start to realize that they got to pay to play, the fad disappears. when people realize they got to pay to play, the fad goes away.
A lot of people do podcasts, man, and a lot of people do podcasts, man, or try to do podcasts. It is a fad. It is a popular trend right now. And Daniel and I had this conversation when we started, and come to find out, most people don't even make it to 10 episodes, and so we're on our 10th episode next week. But let's continue with a popular trend in the media. I wanted to touch base with you guys and poke your brains, because I don't know what's going on with what's going on in the media right now with what's hitting the headlines. You guys heard about these drones that's flying over New Jersey? These UAPs that they're calling, or UFOs or UAPs. What's your perspective on this, guys? What do you guys think it is?
I didn't hear about that. You heard about that?
No.
I didn't hear too much about that. I'm
gonna look into that.
So you got a lot of these UFOs that's going on, not only in it's all some certain parts of the nation, majority of them in New Jersey, that's flying over military installations. You got a lot of spottings now in the UK, and I'm just wondering, what do you guys think it is? They're making it seem like it's some type of alien invasion going on, here in America. It's all over.
That's called
you think so?
Recon. Man, people recon. That's recon, bro. Yeah. It gotta be, bro.
Similar to those balloons that was out a year ago. Remember those balloons that was flying over America?
I remember those. I remember that. Okay. Everybody's all these countries is spying on each other, bro. I'm looking into that.
Okay. Well, it's one of those things where, and this is part of, and I don't want to turn this political, right? But
man, turn it political, Mike.
Go ahead, man.
Donald Trump.
It's locker room talk, man. It's locker room talk.
Trump, he stress tested not just the country but also the media. There's never been in history a leader who comes out and starts airing everything. It's never happened. Trump came and started doing that shit, and with the media. So have you ever heard of this game called Werewolf?
No.
Werewolf?
Not.
So
not
there was this Russian sociologist that he created this game called Werewolf, and you have, like, let's say you have like 11 people in a circle. 2 people are the werewolves, but no one knows who the werewolves are. Only the 2
I heard
people
of it.
that know who the werewolves are. So they go around, and it's kind of like Duck Duck Goose. If you guess wrong, you're out. I think over 90% of the time the werewolves won. But the point of this was the ignorant majority will always lose to the knowledgeable, like, minority. There's a set of people that know what's really going on, and then you have a bunch of people that will believe whatever the hell is posted on CNN.
Okay. Yeah.
Trump came in, and he was a part of the minority, and he was talking about, I'm a werewolf, right? So it's this thing where it kind of messes you up, but now it makes you think, well, they talking UFOs? I don't believe it. Oh, they're talking UAVs? No. Hey, this saying that this has happened, whatever. I'm more apolitical now than I've ever been, primarily because I feel like the media that was disproven in many ways, has made it so it's so stink that now I don't even follow. I used to open up CNN a lot. I used to open up MSNBC a lot. I used to open up Fox a lot because in my head I was like, I got to keep up. I got to know.
No.
Yeah. But now I'm just like, I actually do not care.
Don't care.
Yeah, it's like WWF. It's a game now. Even the debates are like a game, you know. So
the debates were.
It's so like it's so like I'm not gonna lie. Trump made me. I'm not gonna say it's because of him, but him coming out and running the first time. Because I used to be in politics. I don't know if I told you, Mike, but I went to school. I started going to school for political science, right? Politics was
really?
like,
okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed politics. Yeah. And I kind of got out of it, just didn't care. Trump made me care about politics again. Just like hearing the way that he came out and was voicing that. Now, was he telling the truth about a lot of stuff? I'm not going to get into that, whether it was facts or fiction, right? I really don't care. What I care about is that he made me interested again into politics and got me back, researching things and learning different things about politics. I was like, all right, whatever. And I think like a lot of the country was just tired of politics as usual.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sort of like your iPhone gripe. It hasn't changed in like how many years?
Yeah.
People were just tired of politics as usual. Yeah. Now, was it a good or bad thing? We'll find out in the next 5 to 10 years, right? But I think at this juncture, if even with the news outlets, and which was already trending down, and now MSNBC has to sell because the highest viewed political, live show was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Was that Louder with Crowder?
Yeah.
I was tuned in.
Yeah.
Because people are even desiring to get their news from untraditional, outlets.
Yeah.
Of course.
People want to just hear from everyday people, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm getting off topic, but that's what makes a lot of people complain about Kai Cenat. But that's what makes him so popular. Because people just want to watch an everyday person. Now, granted, he's not an everyday person. The dude's like a multimillionaire. But at the end of the day, it's just some guy chilling in this, Big Brother type house like MTV used to have. People want unconventional ways to be entertained even at this point. That whole classic way of doing things, bro, is
they wanted
done.
They wanted an unconventional leader too. Someone who's not the same as all these politicians.
In my opinion, they made headway for a Donald Trump to come in, but I don't want to get too much into that. But
all right, well, let's get off topic then, right? But something else in popular media. Okay, Daniel, let me switch things.
What happened?
This guy right here. You guys now. You guys might have not heard about the UFOs, but what about the CEO of United Healthcare? All right. What's your opinion on what's going on? You got some guy who was acting like a hitman, right? Yeah, but he was acting like a hitman and got into New York, unscathed, didn't know who he was, escaped unfazed when he popped shots, shot the guy in the back, knew he was coming out, knew he was going to the event, knew what hotel he was coming from, pulled up on him on the street, shot him in the back, got away, jumped on the bike, rode into Central Park, disappeared. Then he was found in the McDonald's, right? Based off of video images of going to some type of Airbnb, the McDonald's employee calls the police and says, "Yeah, this is the guy right here." What's your take on that, guys? Any input? Any opinions? Because we're all speculating, of course, but this is just locker room talk. What's your opinion on that? Only reason why I'm asking and why I asked about those two topics, Mike, is because I'm like one of the world's biggest conspiracy theorists over here.
Oh God!
You know what I'm saying? So but is it really a conspiracy theory? Is it? Because the majority of these things that do come to light. But what's your opinions, though? I just wanted to chop it up with you guys before we head out about those two.
I was one of my buddies shed light on a quote that was made years ago by Abe Lincoln, and he said, "Lessons not learned in bloodshed are often forgotten." And
Correct.
Facts. Dang.
it's one of those things where you have, I mean, COVID was a purge. COVID was a purge. COVID was manufactured. Um, COVID was one of those things where, I mean, within our country, Social Security was on a runway of being, um, I forgot the term, but it absolved by 2033.
Yep.
And far too many boomers were retiring, dishing out on Social Security. Not enough income was coming in. We were entering into a gig economy where more folks are sitting here. They're not getting 9 to 5 jobs. They're getting paid on 1099 versus 1040s. They're not putting money into retirement accounts. They're not paying a ton of taxes. So that's not feeding the system that was grown. So COVID came, purged a bunch of seniors, and then now we're sitting like, oh, okay, we're a little bit more back on track, right? I think with these insurance companies in the medical, the medical field. Oh shoot. Oh, okay. I think I went out there. These companies. I mean, this guy. What's his name? Forgot what his name was, but
Luigi
they.
Mangione.
No.
Is that
The
who
CEO.
Oh.
The CEO.
Oh, okay.
Brian Thompson. Oh, Brian.
They
Brian
they
Thompson.
had
Yeah.
and a number of these insurance companies are doing it. They're dehumanizing the process of identifying who should get care or who should get funded or who should get. But yet their shareholders are making billions of dollars. Do you know some of their shareholders make more per every 3 hours than the average American is making in their yearly salary. So they're benefiting off of how well these insurance companies cannot pay for your healthcare. So imagine you losing your mom because they denied her because, I don't know, she coughed last month. So some AI algorithm is saying, yeah, denied. We don't feel like paying. Imagine you losing your mom, your dad, over an insurance company that's that greedy. Yeah, you're gonna start to see the ramifications of that. How do you solve it? Luigi at least started something, which I don't agree
you're really not gonna make any impact by protesting in the streets. I tell you that much, right?
You're not.
Malcolm X said that.
The issue is they're gonna find another one, and then they're gonna find another one. Then they're gonna. That's the issue. But what were we gonna say? What were we gonna say, Daniel? Sorry, I cut you off there.
I said Malcolm X taught us that, but I don't want to get too much in that. But
yeah,
I think
a lot of the CEOs took their names and faces off of websites. Yeah, really? Off of websites. Yeah, after that happened, a lot of CEOs of these health insurance companies.
They say he was making like 10 million.
Took their names off of LinkedIn. Took their names off of websites.
Wow.
Just so it wouldn't happen to them. It's like they know they're doing wrong by the American people, so they're like, let me try to remain anonymous of being CEO of this company, so I don't have to face repercussions. But
they're buying security.
Well, so he did have security. So he did normally. That's why it was kind of odd that he didn't have security at that point, because he was known to walk with security. He was making $10 million a year. I don't think anyone making $10 million a year will not have security, especially someone in that type of position. So he received death threats before. So he had death threats all the way up until. So I don't know if they thought that it wasn't going to happen, but people are tired, bro. People are tired. And then, of course, you're going to like this conspiracy piece, Paul. They were linking it to Diddy. They were linking his death.
How's everything lit to this?
To the diddler. The diddler got his hands in everything, literally.
Dude, TD Jakes was apparently stressed out over Diddy, so he had a stroke on stage. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody got
That was
Jay-Z
Diddy's
just got
pastor.
brought in. Jay-Z just got brought into some suit, which is the first named other celebrity recently. So I mean, it's I don't know
For a minor.
how.
Apparently he did something to a minor. He had
Yeah, a
some type
13-year-old.
of 13-year-old. I didn't know.
That happened like 20 years ago or something, or
Yeah,
25 years ago.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Which I mean,
Now, if it really did happen, that's unfortunate. But
yeah,
right?
I don't know, dude.
It's crazy.
I don't know what I would say, and we talked about Diddy before. Diddy did a lot of dirt, a whole bunch of dirt, and I feel like, I think that, when he tried to make amends with his life, because he's getting older, he sees the, errors. Well, he decides to do something different. What I believe, right? This is just what I think. I just think that he did too much, and then when you try to turn your leaf over, I just thought it was a bit too late. You made too many enemies, and then now you're crying that someone did to you what you were doing to people all these years. And now when a bigger fish comes around and big fish you, now you want to cry wolf.
Yeah.
It's like you've been being a big bad wolf this whole time.
And it was that whole Cassie thing that
Cassie
caused that
thing, bro.
That whole avalanche. If you would have kept her somewhat, and again, I think he thought he was too big to fail. He didn't think that anything would ever get public. He didn't think that video would come out. He didn't think that she would, that she would go public with anything. That caused that whole. But I mean, look,
I think that was even before that, though. I think Cassie was just a pawn in taking Diddy down. It was when he went against the owners of
that wine company,
Ciroc.
that wine and spirits.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but that's what triggered everything from there. That's I just wanted to bring those topics up because I don't believe anything I hear in the media at all.
You don't like
right?
it?
No, I know they do have some truths in but I don't believe anything from the and I might be wrong, from the Jay-Z's to the Diddy's to the UFOs to the United Healthcare killer who they apparently found in McDonald's eating a number one meal or whatever. Yeah, I just don't believe everything that you hear in the media.
He looks like James Franco, bro. When I first saw him, I said, "Yo, this is James Franco." But
he looks like every other guy that's out there too. In other words, so.
Now, I like conspiracy theories just like the next person. So I do believe, right? This is my opinion. I do believe that, something else is there. Is it aliens?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right? I don't know for sure. I do believe though. Like I don't believe that we're the only.
Do y'all believe in space?
I do.
I believe that there's a firmament over this planet.
What makes me believe in what makes me.
Right. So I don't think that the explorations that they've been doing are what they've been telling us.
Right.
Do you guys believe? Do you believe like we've been to the moon?
Yes and no.
I don't.
What do you tell me? Tell me your rationale.
So my rationale behind it is, okay. First off, do I believe that there is an outer space? I say yes, and I take that back to the creator God piece, right? So whether a person believes in scripture or not, right? I'm not going to go into that. Let's just for conversation's sake say that there is a creator being, a creator God, right? Now, personally speaking, if I had all type of creative ability, no holds bars, dude, you better believe I'm doing more than just creating humans. You better believe I'm doing the outer space. I'm doing the Milky Way. I'm doing the solar system. Dude, if I had endless creative possibilities and I'm a creative myself, that's why I said I do believe there's other stuff. I just don't know if it's aliens or not. But I'm no holds bars, bro. Oh my gosh. I'm creating everything, dude. So that's why I said yes and no, because I believe.
No, well, for
in the
me,
realms of creativity.
Daniel, for me, I look at it like if we had made it to the moon, we would have been going to the moon. There would have been flights to the moon that we could take, and the resorts out there that we could go ahead to, and we could play golf. We could play golf out there. It would be a nonstop back and forth. We'd have territory out there. I would be able to buy some real estate out there for
how do you know that that's not
$100,000? And again, it might be going on, but I don't believe what they're telling us.
So
I don't believe what they're telling us about what's going on with space, the moon, anything that's out there in popular media. I really don't believe it because it just doesn't make sense.
How long did it take us, dude? We can't even go to where the Titanic sank, if that's real. First, correct. If the Titanic sinking is real, we can't even do that, right? How long did it take us to even get to the Cybertruck from Ford's quote unquote first vehicle to now the Cybertruck? How long did that take? How long did it take the Wright brothers?
We were able to do it. It just wasn't. It wasn't commercially viable.
Exactly.
It wasn't a good business.
My point, Mike. My point. So, if you want to start sending passengers to outer space, and SpaceX has done that, Elon has done that.
So they say.
We haven't been to the moon. But again, we haven't been to the moon since the 70s.
That's not an easy feat. That's why I say yes and no. No, that's why I say yes and no. That's why I say yes and no. Do I believe that
took us there has been lost or whatnot, and they can't recreate that technology anymore?
No, the technology that was on that shuttle was it was less technology than the iPhone 3. I mean,
for real.
The iPhone 3 was more powerful than the entire shuttle.
That's why I don't know about that one.
And they're saying they don't know how to get back there too.
That's why I said I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. At the same time, now, are we going back there now? No, we're not going back there. No, the best we got is satellite images, right? Best we got is moon satellite images, right? But
I just wanted to trigger y'all brains about this stuff, man. Really, we could talk about this for days. This is my thing. I'll be on the phone with you guys, and I'll talk about origins and the emerald tablets and what they say and everything like that. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to you guys. I don't want to do that to you.
We gotta do one.
We'll have to have we should have a tinfoil hat episode, right?
I'm with it.
But Mike, let me ask you a question, Mike. Before we end this stuff, what are some of your future endeavors, man? What are you looking for? What are some of the near future goals that you have for yourself as an entrepreneur?
That's a big. That's a wide question, man. I mean, one future goal is I'm building this community where my aim within the community is to get entrepreneurs to understand the simplicity of growing something, the simplicity of planting seeds. And so my first big goal is to get 200 aspiring entrepreneurs into that group. I think that's going to be a big objective that I'm going to be hitting. I think that's also going to emancipate me from certain things that I have to do right now to serve this community. So that's one big goal. I do also want to start a fund. I want to start a creator fund to be able to support certain ventures. So like I mentioned in the beginning, you need a plan and progress, right? And at the same time too, oftentimes you're going to need a purse, right? Like you need some type of capital to fuel. There are plenty of creators right now that they can't get off the ground because they don't have the money. So I'd love to create or to have some type of like accelerator program, but have the ability to invest in certain creators, primarily because that economy is going to be growing. You mentioned it. People are watching certain YouTube channels far more than they're watching um, national television, and so I want to get a piece of that. Right? There was, a lot of folks are investing in real estate, of course, because it is real estate, but there's also digital estate now. So there are people who are creating things online, and then they're building up the valuation of it, and they're selling it. Today, you can start a blog, you can run traffic to it, you could monetize it, and then once you're hitting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, and that's a little bit for a blog being generated on some monetized content, you could sell that for $500,000. There are plenty of people buying it. So I want to get into that space where I'm able to buy in, invest, grow, and then sell things off by using things that other creators have started.
Outstanding.
That's dope, man. Dude, man.
Hey, I like the direction that you're heading. Now, if you know how to generate capital, I like talking syndication. We should talk, off air. If you can get heads together, multifamily units, 100+ units. That's usually the way to go to build generational wealth right there. So let's talk about that off air, if anything. Daniel, you was gonna say something?
Yeah, man. Oh, I was gonna wrap it.
But I like the conversations that we've been having, man. And thanks again, Mike, for joining us on Beyond the Hustle. It's locker room talk, man. Well, I love it. Love the way, love the direction that you're heading and the mindset that you have. Thank you for your service and teaching the community, with your wisdom and expertise and what you do, man. If you can, Daniel, let's give him a round of applause.
Oh yeah,
for his contribution to the community, man. Thank you so much, Mike. Is there anything that you want to say before we leave? How can people contact you? How can people reach you?
Yeah, I mean, and in closing too, I know, none of the stuff that I've done could be done without like an amazing team around me. So one thing that I've been telling a lot of entrepreneurs is the most empowering thing you can do is to build a team. The first big thing that is needed is to build a team. Create an image, create a picture that this team believes in. And you could do a lot more than attempting to do something by yourself, painting these pictures in your own head. So I have amazing teams around me. That's how stuff's getting done. So yeah, man, in closing, if anybody wants to get in touch with me, they can always go to MikeFelix.com. All of my handles across social media is I am Mike Felix. So YouTube at I am Mike Felix, Instagram I am Mike Felix, TikTok I am Mike Felix, Facebook I am Mike Felix, Instagram everything is I am Mike Felix. So if you want to reach me, you can look up my first and last name. There's another Mike Felix, and I think like Michigan or something, older white dude. But
but you're the real Mike Felix. I got you. you're the first Mike Felix. We'll put it that way. But you're absolutely right, man. You definitely need a team in order to scale your vision. Doing it by yourself doesn't mean you can't do things by yourself, but you're gonna reach that plateau with the team. You can take things to a different level. That's why I had to join, with Daniel Tatamy and Tatamy Productions in order to get things going to another level. Because I'm all about growth, man, and the maestro knows what he's doing. Once again, thanks, man, for joining us on this very special 9th episode.
Yeah, bro.
And we should do this again. Let's do this another time down the road.
Got to. I appreciate
Daniel, you want anything you got to say, bro?
Oh man, hit up taxmoney123.com. Tax season is coming, man. Y'all gonna want y'all money right. personal and business. He handles all those type of things, man. Make sure y'all reach out to him.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of Beyond the Hustle. We will be back next week, Tuesday at the same time. Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you so much, bro.
Thank you.
We will see y'all next time. Deuces, man.